And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Experience Hockey Talk Series Hockey Talk for serious hockey fans, and welcome to the show. Good morning, Dixon. Good morning. Hey, Dixon, since you're watching already, just a heads up, I forgot to create the post for Facebook. Can you please do that for me, please? And mute the TV. There we go. If you can do a quick post on the Facebook page and get that out to into the groups, that would be awesome. And maybe do a tweet as well, since I haven't had a chance to do all that stuff. I had to do other things this morning, like go to the post office. Hooray, post office. So, we are now into round 2 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. We had an exciting Game 7 between the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs, which saw the Boston Bruins win essentially the game in the third period for the Boston Bruins to move on to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, which their first game will be today at 3 p.m. And good morning to you too, Shaggy. And yes, it is a good job by me because, well, when you're the guy who has to do everything, you have to do everything. So, with that said, you had a really good series between Boston and Toronto. You had your only lone 7-game series. Obviously, both San Jose and Vegas winning their series in 4, Tampa Bay winning theirs in 5, Pittsburgh, Washington, and Nashville winning theirs in 6, and Winnipeg winning theirs in 5. Moving on to here. Of course, we have for the third year in a row in a second round the Capitals versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. And actually, before we doing that, I want to go over all the award trophy finalists that have been announced, and then a couple other little news and notes. First, I want to take care of that because I want to really break down the series, at least the first game for the Caps and the Penguins. I had a really long tweet about it on Friday, yesterday morning, that I want to read those tweets to you all and then more elaborate on the show today. So, starting off right away, you have the Masterton Trophy finalists, which are Brian Boyle, the New Jersey Devils, Roberto Luongo, the Florida Panthers, and Jordan Staal, the Carolina Hurricanes. Brian Boyle of the Devils, before he was able to set foot on the ice as a New Jersey Devil, he faced his biggest test. At the start of training camp, the 33-year-old was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia, a type of bone marrow cancer. He worked his way back into the lineup by November 1st and notched 10 goals over his first 25 games, including a memorable goal on the Devils' Hockey Fights Cancer Night at the Prudential Center, which was a 3-2 victory over the Vancouver Canucks on November 24th. Boyle missed just 3 games after his season debut and represented the Devils at the 2018 Honda NHL All-Star Game in Tampa. While handling his own illness, his family, and his career, Boyle has approached every day with the same optimistic attitude and perseverance that has inspired and lifted the Devils' locker room. Roberto Luongo, 39 years old, overcame hand and groin injuries during the season and backstopped the Panthers' drive for an Eastern Conference playoff berth. Sidelined by injury since early December, the franchise all-time leader in wins, shutouts, and appearances returned on February 17th to help the Panthers defeat Calgary 6-3 and ignite a Florida rally in the East wildcard race. And then also on February 28th, Luongo delivered a heartfelt, unscripted speech to the crowd at BB&T Center prior to Florida's game against Washington. The 12-year resident of nearby Parkland, Florida, addressed the recent Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting during the Panthers pregame ceremony to honor the victims. And lastly, Jordan Staal, the Carolina Hurricanes, showing leadership and strength amidst a family tragedy. Staal was a key component of the Hurricanes throughout the season. In late February, Staal and his wife Heather announced their daughter Hannah was delivered stillborn due to a terminal birth defect previously diagnosed by doctors. Staal, who had amassed a bigger leadership role with the young Hurricanes by being named co-captain before the season, missed just 3 games following the tragedy. He registered 46 points in 79 games, the second highest goal and point totals in his 6 seasons with Carolina. Okay. Next email. For the Calder Trophy, your finalists are Matthew Barzal, center of the New York Islanders. Barzal, who is the 16th overall selection of the 2015 NHL Draft, led all rookies with 22 goals, 63 assists for 85 points in 82 games played. 20 points more than the next closest player. He became the 7th rookie in league history to record at least 20 goals and 60 assists in one season, and first to do so since 2005-06 when Sidney Crosby did it. Barzal, who also pays rookies in assists, power play assists, and power play points, recorded a trio of 5-point efforts in November 5th and January 13th and February 9th. Then you have Brock Besser, right winger of the Vancouver Canucks. Besser, the 23rd overall pick in the 2015 NHL Draft, ranked second among rookies with 29 goals and fifth with 55 points despite appearing in only 62 contests. He also placed in the top 5 among rookies in power play goals, shooting percentage, power play points, power play assists, and game-winning goals. Only 2 rookies have scored more goals in one season for the Canucks, which are Pavel Bure and Trevor Linden, while just 6 have collected more points. And then for the Arizona Coyotes, you have Clayton Keller. Keller, the 7th overall pick in the 2016 NHL Draft, plays second among rookies with 23 goals, 42 assists, and 65 points while skating in all 82 games. His 65 points were the most by a Coyotes rookie since the club relocated to Arizona in 1996-97, and 5th most dating to the franchise inaugural season in 1979-80 as the original Winnipeg Jets. Keller ranked in the top 5 among 2017-18 NHL rookies in shots on goal, assists, power play goals, power play points, and goals. He registered a 10-game point streak from March 11th to 28th, tied for the 3rd longest in franchise history. The 19-year-old Chesterfield, Missouri native is the 3rd Calder Trophy finalist in Coyotes Jets history. The previous 2 are Teemu Selanne and Dale Hawerchuk, who each captured the award. And then moving on. The NHL announced all 31 team nominees for the 2017-18 King Clancy Memorial Trophy. The selection committee will apply the following criteria in determining the finalist and winner of the King Clancy Memorial Trophy: investment of time and resources, commitment to a particular cause or community, creativity of programming, use of influence, engagement of others, and measurement of impact. Let's see here. The NHL Foundation Player Award is being discontinued, and the associated NHL Foundation charitable donation will be provided through the King Clancy Memorial Trophy. From the NHL Foundation Player Awards inception in 1998 for 2017, the National Hockey League and NHL Foundation have donated $500,000 to charities selected by the awards recipients. So the NHL Foundation Award is going to go along with the King Clancy Award now. And of course, for the 31 nominees for the King Clancy Memorial Trophy, for Anaheim it is Ryan Getzlaf, Arizona is Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Boston is Zdeno Chara, Buffalo is Zach Bogosian, Calgary is Travis Hamonic, Carolina is Justin Falk, Chicago is Duncan Keith, Colorado is Gabriel Landeskog, Columbus is Sergei Bobrovsky, Dallas is Tyler Seguin, Detroit is Justin Abdelkader, Edmonton is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Florida is Mike Matheson, LA is Drew Doughty, Minnesota is Jason Zucker, Montreal is Brendan Gallagher, Nashville is PK Subban, New Jersey is Corey Schneider, the Islanders is Anders Lee, the Rangers are Henrik Lundqvist, Ottawa is Mark Borowiecki, Philadelphia is Shane Gostisbehere, Pittsburgh is Matt Murray, San Jose is Chris Tierney, St. Louis is Alex Pietrangelo, Tampa Bay is Ryan Callahan, Toronto is Matt Martin, Vancouver are both Daniel and Henrik Sedin, Vegas is Derek England, Washington is Brooks Orpik, and Winnipeg is Matt Hendricks. So for all Washington Capitals fans, it is Brooks Orpik who is the nominee for the Washington Capitals for the King Clancy Award. And of course, a lot of people were very upset over the fact that Daniel and Henrik Sedin are both listed for the Vancouver Canucks because it's supposed to only be one person per team. But given how the Sedin twins have always done everything together, that is the reason why Vancouver has them together, as well as the fact that they're both retiring effectively now. For the Marc Messier NHL Leadership Award, the three finalists are Derek England, defenseman of the Vegas Golden Knights. England registered a career-high 18 assists and 23 points while serving as the backbone of a Golden Knights team that achieved unprecedented success for an expansion franchise. He also was a fixture in the Las Vegas community following the tragic events of October 1st. A longtime Las Vegas resident, England delivered a passionate pregame speech prior to the club's home opener on October 10th. England and his wife Melissa started a program inviting those affected by the tragedy to Golden Knights home games throughout the season, meeting and thanking each guest after the game. Away from the rink, England partnered with Ronald McDonald House and 3 Square to help children and families in need. He also continued a 5-year relationship with local firefighters, has raised more than $40,000 for children who cannot afford to play hockey. That's not an important question right now. We'll get to that question later, Dixon. I'm going through NHL awards right now. We'll talk about the draft later. Wayne Simmons, the right winger for the Philadelphia Flyers. Simmons recorded his 5th straight 20-goal season to propel the Flyers to their 8th playoff berth in the past 11 years. He hosted a different military unit in a private suite during every other home game, meeting each group at the end of the evening. Simmons also reached out to a group of hockey players from the U.S. Air Force, inviting them to practice and even skating with them following their tour of duty. Simmons, who has served on the board of directors of the Ed Snyder Youth Hockey Foundation since 2014, continued to spend significant time with children from the program. He also made efforts to grow the support in his hometown of Scarborough, Ontario, where he hosted Wayne's Road Hockey Warriors each summer since 2012. And lastly, Blake Wheeler, right winger of the Winnipeg Jets, Winnipeg's captain since 2016-17. Wheeler shared the league lead with 68 assists and collected a career-high 91 points to guide the Jets to their best season in franchise history. He also took on a greater role in the community, highlighted by his work as an ambassador with the True North Youth Foundation, which aims to provide consistent, innovative programs for underserved youth in Manitoba. Wheeler launched several initiatives within the True North Youth Foundation during a summer visit to Camp Manitou. During the season, he spent time with students at several events, including classroom visits, the Winnipeg Jets Gala Dinner, and as an on-ice instructor for the Winnipeg Jets Hockey Academy, a play-based program designed to increase school attendance as well as high school graduation rates in socially and economically challenged schools in the city. And then, okay, there we go. There's the Hart Trophy. Actually, I think there's one more. Okay, that worked. Yeah, there it is. Aha. So 2 more. The Jack Adams Award for Best Coach in the NHL. Your 3 finalists are Jared Bednar of the Colorado Avalanche. Bednar guided a rookie-laden Avalanche to among the most dramatic single-season improvements in NHL history. Colorado posted a 47-point increase over 2016-17, tied for the 4th highest year-to-year gain in qualifying for their first postseason appearance since 2013-14. The club went 28-11-2 on home ice, matching its franchise record of 28 wins set by the 2000-2001 Stanley Cup team. The Avalanche dressed 11 rookies, tied for the league lead, and the rookie group combined for an NHL high 419 games. The team's 255 goals scored, excluding shootouts, was its most since 2006-07, and a 55% increase over the 165 from 2016-17. Bednar is a first-time Jack Adams Award finalist and in the quest of the 3rd such honor in franchise history, following Patrick Waugh and Mark Crawford. Of course, Mark Crawford did in 94-95 when there's still the Quebec Nordiques. Then, next up, you have Bruce Cassidy of the Boston Bruins. In his first full season behind the Boston bench as head coach, Cassidy led the Bruins to a 50-20-12 record, to a 4th place finish in the NHL's overall standings and the club's 4th highest point total in the past 40 years. The Bruins registered a 13-game road point streak from December 13th to February 11th. the fifth longest such run in franchise history. They finished the season 22-12-7 away from home, third in the league behind the Nashville Predators and Tampa Bay Lightning. Bruins rookies tallied 58 goals in 2017-18, the most by an NHL club and representing 22% of the team's total. A first-time finalist, Cassidy is vying to become the fourth Bruins coach to capture Jack Adams' honors following Don Cherry, Pat Burns, and Claude Julien. And lastly is Gerard Gallant of the Vegas Golden Knights. Gallant led the Golden Knights to a 51-24-7 record, to a slew of historic achievements in 2017-18, with Vegas becoming the first modern-era expansion team from any of the four North American professional sports leagues to start from scratch and win its division. The Golden Knights started the season 8-1-0 using four goaltenders within their first 10 games. Following a spat of injuries, they went on to post their 34th victory on February 1st to set the NHL record for wins by a team in its inaugural season, with 32 games remaining. 11 Golden Knights players recorded career-best point totals, most notably William Karlsson, who posted 43 goals, 35 assists for 78 points, after a 6-goal, 19-assist, 25-point campaign with the Columbus Blue Jackets in 2016-17. Gallant is a Jack Adams Award finalist for the second time, having finished second in voting in 2015-16 with the Florida Panthers. And now I get to go do the Hart Trophy. And for the Hart Trophy, for MVP for his team, as voted on by the Professional Hockey Writers Association. First up, you have Taylor Hall, left winger of the New Jersey Devils. Hall ranked 6th in the NHL with 39 goals, 54 assists, and 93 points, setting career highs across the board that propelled the Devils to a 27-point improvement in the standings in their first playoff appearance since 2011-12. Hall recorded 41 more points than his next closest teammate, Nico Hischier, the highest such differential by a club's top two scorers since 2007-8 when Alex Ovechkin and Nicholas Backstrom did it for Washington. He collected points in 26 straight personal appearances from January 2nd to March 6th, a franchise record and the longest such streak by any player since 2015-16. Hall also set a club record with a 19-game point streak during that span. The 26-year-old Calgary native and first-time NHL Trophy finalist is seeking to become the first player in Devils history to capture the Hart Trophy. Goalie Martin Brodeur finished third in voting in 2002-03, 03-04, and 06-07. Next up is Anze Kopitar of the Los Angeles Kings. Kopitar finished 1 point behind Hall in scoring, nearly tripling his goal total and doubling his point total from 2016-17 to power the Kings to their 7th playoff berth in the past 9 years. He became the first Los Angeles player to reach the 90-point milestone since 1993-94, when Wayne Gretzky did it, also setting career highs in all three major scoring categories. Kopitar, who posted his first career 4-goal game March 22nd at Colorado, placed 31 points ahead of his next closest teammate, Dustin Brown, aided by a career-best 10-game point streak from October 26th to November 16th. And then next up, you have Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. MacKinnon plays second in the NHL with 1.31 points per game to guide the Avalanche to a 47-point improvement in the standings, matching the fourth highest year-to-year gain in league history. MacKinnon, who registered 16 goals, 37 assists, 53 points last season, increased his goal total by 23 and point total by 44 to lift Colorado from last place in 2016-17 to its first playoff berth since 2013-14. He did so on the strength of 12 game winning goals, tied for the league lead as well as the most in franchise history. MacKinnon also notched 13 3-point performances, second in the NHL, and most by an Avalanche player since 2002-03 when Peter Forsberg did 14. So that is your Hart nominations. I feel like there's one more. I feel like there's one more award and I'm missing it. It's like I seriously feel like I'm missing one more award. because I thought that I think it was Hall, McKinnon, and McDavid were voted on by the players for MVP in that one. But I don't see an email for it, so I'll look into that one later. But McDavid, I don't agree with in the fact that like Hall really turned his team around, McKinnon really helped turn his team around. Those are true MVPs. McDavid, I don't think he was an MVP this year. All right, so moving on. And in a little bit of news, Calgary Flames fired Glenn Gulutzan as head coach. That was done a few weeks ago. And on April 24th, the Calgary Flames hired head coach Bill Peters as their new head coach of the Calgary Flames. He opted out of his contract with the Carolina Hurricanes to take the job in Calgary. Let's do a first round recap real quick. So with the first round recap, high scoring trend continues into the 2018 Stanley Cup Playoffs. The increased offense from the highest scoring regular season in 11 years carried over into the opening round of the 2018 Stanley Cup Playoffs with an average of 5.9 goals per game, with 255 goals in 43 games, up 20% from the 2017 first round, which was about 4.9 goals per game, 205 goals in 42 games. Let's see here. Golden Knights and Jets among group of first-time contenders. 3 clubs who were not part of the 2017 playoffs will play in the second round of the 7 new clubs that reached the postseason, including the expansion Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets, who each recorded their first ever series win. The Golden Knights became just the 3rd team from the NHL, NBA, and Major League Baseball to complete a 4-game sweep to win their first ever playoff series, and the first to do so in their inaugural season. Only 3 other NHL teams won a playoff series in their inaugural season, all against other clubs in their debut campaign: Toronto Arenas in 1918, St. Louis Blues and Minnesota North Stars in 1968. The Golden Knights sweep was not only the first of its kind for a professional team in its inaugural season, but also a feat for any club in the Stanley Cup playoffs over the past 10 years. Only 12.6 of series have ended after 4 games since 2009. This marks the 6th time in the expansion era since 1967-68 that 2 NHL clubs have recorded their first ever series win in the same postseason. The Jets and Golden Knights will face the Predators and Sharks respectively in the second round, marking the 3rd time that the final 4 teams in either conference are all chasing their first Stanley Cup since the introduction of the conferences in 1974-75. The other instances came in 1984 when the Oilers emerged from the Clarence Campbell Conference, outlasting the Blues, Flames, and North Stars, and 2012 when the Kings came out of the Western Conference, outlasting the Blues, Coyotes, and Predators, both en route to winning the Stanley Cup. Crosby and Gensel helped the Penguins keep their three-peat dream alive after finishing second in playoff scoring in 2017. 2-time reigning Stanley Cup champion and Conn Smythe Trophy winner Sidney Crosby shared the league lead with 13 points. In the opening round, Crosby found the score sheet in 5 of 6 games, including 4 multi-point efforts that made him the 4th player in NHL history to record multiple points in at least 60 playoff games. Jake Gensel also collected 6 goals, 7 assists for 13 points in 6 contests, highlighted by a historic 4-goal and 5-point performance in the series-clinching game to boost his career postseason totals to 19 goals, 15 assists, and 34 points in 31 games played. It should also be noted that the 3rd goal that Gensel scored was off of a blatant strip of Sean Couturier, where they literally slashed him in the legs that sent him flying upwards because they took his legs out from him. So keep that one in mind, Pittsburgh fans. Then, next up, a trio of 5-point efforts in the first round. Game 6 of the Penguins-Flyers series marked the first time that a set of opposing players each collected 5 points in Stanley Cup playoff games, with Philadelphia's Sean Couturier scoring 3 goals, 2 assists, matching the output by Pittsburgh's Jake Gensel, 4 goals, 1 assist, while playing with a torn MCL. Boston's David Pastrnak, who also had 13 points in the opening round, posted 3 goals, 3 assists, and 6 points in Game 2 of the Bruins Maple Leaf series to match a NHL record for most points by a player for his team's first 2 games of a postseason. Pasternak became the youngest player in NHL history to record 6 points in a playoff game, besting a mark set by Edmonton's Wayne Gretzky at age 22 in Game 3 of the 1983 Division Finals. The first round closed with a thrilling Game 7 between the Bruins and Maple Leafs, a contest that featured 5 tallies in the opening frame, 4 tying goals overall, and finished as the third highest Game 7 on record. Tied with Minnesota 9, Los Angeles Kings 4 in 1968, New York Rangers 8, New Jersey Devils 4 in 1992, and Edmonton 7, Calgary 4 in 1984. Boston became the first team in NHL history to overcome 3 deficits of at least 1 goal to win a Game 7 in regulation, 5 years after becoming the first team in NHL history to overcome a 3-goal third-period deficit to win a Game 7, also against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Patrice Bergeron tallied 3 points in each of those contests, and on Wednesday became the 11th player to compile at least 9 career points in Game 7s. Rivalry brewing on and off the ice. The Predators-Jet series pits 2 of the most colorful crowds against one another as the gold-clad Nashville fans and the Winnipeg Whiteout go head-to-head, growing a growing theme across NHL as fan bases in nearly every market rally together to support their team's push for the Stanley Cup. And that's it for that. Man, they don't want to talk about the Caps in there. Alright. So, Game 1 of the Caps happened the same night that Game 1 of the Golden Knights Sharks series started, where the Golden Knights won 7-0 over San Jose. Now, I did not watch this game, but I watched highlights, and it looked like Vegas really took it to the San Jose Sharks and really pushed their type of style of play on the Sharks. And if the Sharks don't play like the way they did against Anaheim, the Sharks are going to be out of the playoffs sooner rather than later. Game 2 for that game will be tonight at 8 p.m. I will be watching that game because I have a lot of interest in seeing that, especially when it's during a time when I'm actually not having to watch a period and then go to bed. So 8 o'clock start time, Game 2, Golden Knights Sharks in Vegas. It's very interesting, especially the fact that Vegas got the 7-0 victory over the Sharks. I thought that was going to be a more closer contest for Game 1. And then last night was Game 1 between the Nashville Predators and the Winnipeg Jets, and that saw the Jets take, what was that score again? What was that score again? That's not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. Which saw the Winnipeg Jets take a 4-1 victory over the Nashville Predators to a 1-0 victory in Nashville. So it will be a very interesting thing to look at to see how Nashville responds to Winnipeg. We know in the series against Colorado when they won in 6, Nashville, they won the first game. They won the second game, taking a 2-0 series lead. But Colorado always scored first. They gave up the first goal to Winnipeg in this one, and they weren't able to recover like they did against Colorado the times that they scored first. So that's something interesting to look at. Toronto-Boston starts at 3 p.m. today on, I believe, NBC. That will be a big marquee matchup. And this is actually a big toss-up game right here. This is a toss-up of who can theoretically win this series. Tampa Bay doesn't have the best defense, but they're a team that if they can get a lot of goals, they're going to win this. They're going to win the game. And you also got to wonder if Andrei Vasilevsky is tired or not. That was a big question about the Capitals of Braden Holtby of all the games that he played. Braden Holtby, who we'll be talking about in a little bit, is actually benefiting off of getting a break near the end of the season, with Philip Grubauer getting all those starts. Also in the Vegas Golden Knights San Jose Sharks series, Evander Kane has been suspended for Game 2 by the Department of Player Safety. He has been suspended for 1 game for cross-checking Vegas Golden Knights forward Pierre-Edouard Bellemare during Game 1 of the team's second-round series in Las Vegas on Thursday, April 26th. The incident occurred at 3:25 of the third period. Kane was assessed a major penalty for cross-checking and a game misconduct. If you watch the play, Evander Kane cross-checked Pierre-Edouard Bellemare in the face with his stick. Let's see here. Let's have some notes. Oh, do I have notes? Yes, I have notes. Okay, so for going back to Vegas, Vegas erupted for 7 goals, including 4 in a span of 7 minutes 12 seconds during the first period, and Marc-Andre Fleury made 33 saves as the Golden Knights won Game 1 against the Sharks on the heels of a first-round sweep. The Golden Knights became the first NHL team ever to win its first 5 postseason games. Elias Sports Bureau notes that only one team from each of the Major League Baseball, NBA, and NFL earned wins in each of its first 5 playoff contests. The Lakers, the Minneapolis Lakers, were the only other franchise who accomplished the feat in their inaugural season. In Major League Baseball, the Boston Braves went 5-0 from 1914 to 1948. NBA, the Minneapolis Lakers went 7-0 in 1949, and in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens went 5-0 from 2000 to 2002. Elias adds that the Golden Knights became the 4th franchise from either the NHL, MLB, or NBA to win at least 5 consecutive games at any point in their first ever postseason appearance. Vegas joined the Lakers squad mentioned above and 2 other NBA clubs, the Philadelphia Warriors and Portland Trail Blazers. All 3 of those clubs won the championship, with the Warriors doing so in the first ever NBA season, and the Lakers achieving the feat in their first campaign after joining from the National Basketball League. All right. Marc-Andre Fleury recorded his 13th career postseason shutout and 3rd of the 2018 playoffs. He moved into a tie with Turk Broda for 9th place on the NHL's all-time postseason shutouts list among goaltenders. Fleury became the 14th goaltender in NHL history to record 3 shutouts through his team's first 5 games of a playoff year, and first since 2004 when Tampa Bay's Nikolai Khabibulin and Toronto's Ed Belfour did so. Fleury owns a 5-0 record with an 0.54 goals average and a .982 save percentage this postseason, marking his 3rd win streak of at least 5 games within a playoff year. The others came with the Penguins in route 2 appearances in the Stanley Cup Final, 7-0 in 2008 and 5-0 in 2009. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. Okay. Right. And then there's a breakdown from... So Mark Scheifele scored twice, and Connor Hellebuck made 47 saves to help the Jets stifle the Predators in Game 1 of the first second-round appearance in franchise history. Winnipeg earned a postseason victory in regulation despite being outshot 48-19, the largest negative shot differential in a win since the Flyers defeated the Capitals in Game 5 of the 2016 first round, a game in which they were outshot 44-11. The Stanley Cup Playoffs record for the largest negative shot differential in a win is 37, when Chicago beat Boston in Game 3 of the 1975 preliminary round despite being outshot 56-19. Hellebuck, who concluded Winnipeg's first-round series against Minnesota with shutouts in Game 4 and 5, established a Jets Thrashers franchise record for most saves in playoff game, eclipsing the mark of 37 set by Johan Hedberg in Game 2 of the 2007 conference quarterfinals versus New York Rangers, and matched by Andrei Pavlik in Game 2 of the 2015 first round against Anaheim. Hellebuck's 40-save performance on the road is the most by a goaltender in a regulation playoff victory since Craig Anderson recorded 48 saves in Game 1 of the 2013 conference quarterfinals. This is the second time in as many seasons where the team with the best record during the regular season faced off against the club with the second best record, which was Washington versus Pittsburgh, 2017 second round. There have been only 3 other such matchups in the last 30 years. Detroit versus Colorado in the 96 conference finals, the Rangers versus the Devils in the 94 conference finals, and Calgary versus Montreal in the 1989 Stanley Cup finals. So the final series debut of the second round takes place today when the Lightning host the Bruins at Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay. The two teams battle for first place in the Atlantic Division Eastern Conference. This is the final game of the regular season, with Tampa Bay earning the top seed by 1 point. The Lightning and Bruins are meeting in the Stanley Cup Playoffs for the second time, with their lone other matchup occurring in the 2011 Eastern Conference Final. Tim Thomas stopped all 24 shots he faced, and Nathan Horton scored the lone goal at 12:27 of the third period to lose Boston to a 1-0 victory in Game 7 at TD Garden. And then the Boston went on to capture their sixth and most recent Stanley Cup, which was a 4-3 series win over Vancouver. Boston went 3-1-0 against Tampa during the regular season, and with its lone loss coming in the season finale, April 3rd, at Tampa Bay. Bruins defenseman Torrey Krug paced all players with 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points in the season series. All right, Dixon, here you go. Here's the draft talk, since it's in front of me. Are you happy, Dixon? I'll see a comment later. The 2018 NHL Draft Lottery, which will determine the order of selection for the first 15 picks in the first round of the 2018 NHL Draft, will be held today in Toronto. New this year, the results of picks 15 through 4 of the NHL Draft Lottery will be announced live during the 2018 NHL Draft Lottery, showing beginning at 7:30 p.m. on Sportsnet, NBC Sports Network, CBC, and TVA Sports. Oh, God, they're doing this. Can't believe they're doing this. The remaining 3 picks will be revealed live on broadcast during the second intermission of the Golden Knights versus Sharks game. Really? You just can't do the whole thing during the freaking... before the damn game starts? 3 drawings will be made on Saturday, today. The first lottery draw will determine the club selecting first overall. The second lottery draw will determine the club selecting second overall. And the third lottery draw will determine the club selecting third overall. The allocation of odds for the first lottery draw is available in the little information in the information guide. Lookup tables, combination. Wow, okay, I don't need to see all that. And year-by-year results are also available, registered for... Okay. So, allocation of odds for the first lottery draw. In this order: Buffalo at 18.5%, Ottawa at 13.5%, Arizona at 11.5%, Montreal at 9.5%, Detroit at 8.5%, Vancouver at 7.5%, Chicago at 6.5%, the Rangers are at 6%, Edmonton at 5%, the Islanders at 3.5%, Carolina at 3%, Islanders at 2.5%, Dallas at 2%, St. Louis at 1.5%, and Florida at 1% chance. For the love of God, please let Buffalo get the first pick overall, or Arizona, or even Vancouver, because those 3 teams have been getting screwed over hardcore with the draft lottery, especially Buffalo and Arizona lately. So, I'm saying this right now. I want Buffalo or Arizona to get the first pick overall. One of those 2 teams should. The season that Austin Matthews was the first overall pick, that should have been Arizona's pick right there. The year McDavid was first overall, Buffalo should have been the first overall pick, but yet both of them got screwed out of the first overall pick. I want one of those 2 teams to get the first overall pick. Go over everything. Yes. And then actually that's an article I want. So, Game 1 of the Cap series against the Penguins. So, the Caps lost 3-2. Caps played a really good 55 minutes. 5 minutes didn't pan out for them. So here's some takeaways from Caps Pen Game 1 the other night. Number 1, good quick starts for the Capitals. They scored in the first 30 seconds of the first and third periods to get a tempo going for them. However, as I mentioned, there was a 5-minute span that did not work in the Capitals' favor. Bad bounces hurt the Capitals in the third period. 2 of the 3 Pittsburgh goals were deflections. And on Sidney Crosby's goal, you see the puck hit Alexander Ovechkin's stick, which then settled the puck on the Crosby's stick for a cleaner shot. Number 3, Capitals had a more dominant third period than people think. The Caps outshot the Penguins 18-8 in the third period, which has always been the opposite this season for the Washington Capitals. Number 4, the Capitals had a really good overall game with good pace, and all 4 lines had good shifts with great opportunities to bust the game wide open. Matt Murray made a really great saves to keep the Penguins in this game. At the same time, the Caps need to continue to shoot high on Murray. Both goals that were scored were high on the glove side, and the Caps need to continue to do that against Matt Murray. The Capitals exposed the Penguins' defense for what it really is. The Caps got a lot of odd man rushes and were able to grind down the Pens' defense in their own zone as well. Overall, in my opinion, this was a good game for the Capitals against the Penguins. Bad bounces resulted in 3 goals against. The Caps just need to shake off this loss and focus on Game 2 if they keep playing the way they are now, they can legitimately win this series against the Penguins. And here's the thing, and one of the things I'm going to be working on during the offseason is getting permission. As everyone knows, we use Twitch, and I actually just use my PlayStation 4 as a way of watching the stream so I can see the chat room. But one thing I want to do is I want to get the permission showcase. I'm talking about what is this thing? So, that in mind, and I cut it because of on second. Oof, that's not good. Right, I'm because we're having the batteries having an issue. I'm having a camera issue. So, the Washington Capitals had a really good game against overall rate, and I want to on a couple things. Number one, can't on this. Yeah, goal lead in this, fine. But when Matt Nick was asked about going in the game too, he was a win the game. All you got to do, bad bounce times the Cap playoffs in the first round actually got the bounces to go our way for once, which was great. This time around, not as much. So number one thing that the Capitals hope is, hey, bad bounces are going to happen. You just got to hope that they happen your way. It happened in Pittsburgh's favor, and hopefully the hockey gods will be kind to the Washingtons this one. As I mentioned, I got to end this short. That we're having an issue with the camera. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, you can be at patreon.com/txht_hockey and Twitter at txht_hockey, Facebook at facebook.com/txhthockey. Don't forget to follow the show here live on Twitch, twitch.tv/txht_hockey. Again, I do apologize for ending the show 15 minutes early. I had a lot more that I wanted to talk about, but I am having a camera issue. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow when we feature the DCHL game of the week between the Street Sharks and the Crazy Eights, we will see you. Court.